The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. Back to Am I Mental? Weekly live podcast where real people share real stories about how life impacts mental health and mental health impacts life. I'm your host, E. I'm just having troubles with this microphone not staying up. And with us as always is our co-host, Bexy.
Hello.
And no C tonight. C is, let's just say sleep disturbances suck.
Yes, definitely. And we will miss him, but
Definitely.
The show must go on.
Exactly. So, and we have no guest tonight. So instead of just sitting here going, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Which, we really wanted to do. We actually came up with an idea for our show. And if anyone that's a guest that's in the chat, like, I don't know, Devern, Kat, want to contribute to this, we are going to be talking about gaming, social media, memes, and basically internet culture and how it impacts mental health. And we all know that there's some good and there's some bad, and we want to discuss a little bit about each of it. We are by no means experts in the psychology behind it all, but we all are, creatures of the internet, so there's that part of it.
That's very true. We are in no way, shape, or form experts on the internet, but we have had our lives shaped and molded by the internet, and some of us have had their lives saved because of the internet.
Exactly. And you really can't say enough about some of the good stuff that come with it. I mean, it all kind of started when I was... God, what song was I singing? Oh, I was doing... Cat. I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat. I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. That's one of the first viral videos of the internet. So, that was definitely before... I mean, that was like an early YouTube video before there were YouTubers.
Yeah, and it's still, to this day, I watch that video and it makes me laugh and it makes me smile. It's just a cute little mood lifter.
Yeah, it's a little bit of amazing irreverence. For lack of a better way of putting it, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And, the thing with, little videos like that and memes that make you chuckle or make you smile, those are absolutely, great ways when you're having a really bad day and you have a friend who randomly sends you a meme that makes you stop and laugh. What's greater than that?
Most definitely. Just even the smallest little laugh, everybody knows you get an endorphin release.
Oh, yeah.
Can we please put into... it's hard to put into words just how important that is. And, comedy in general. We've talked about comedy endlessly on this podcast, considering we're mostly unprofessional comedians.
Oh, yeah. I don't claim to be a professional anything.
Right?
Maybe I'm a professional klutz.
Well, technically, because this podcast is, self-sustaining, we are technically professional podcasters.
Oh. Well, nice. I have something to add to my repertoire of things that I'm really good at. No.
Yeah, like when I was paid playing taiko, I was a professional taiko player.
Yeah. Hey, that was a little bit of a self-esteem boost for me. I like it.
Well, there you go. As long as you don't wind up having the whole, oh God, I'm now grieving the fact that I'm no longer an amateur podcaster.
Nah.
But, I mean, who hasn't watched a cat video and chuckled? Who hasn't watched a number of viral videos and not chuckled? A good meme. I mean, come on, Grumpy Cat memes. Aren't those the greatest?
Oh my gosh, I love Grumpy Cat.
Like,
And still, Grumpy Cat is your spirit animal.
and I hate it. No, it's been, I like when I first started working, my first full-time job, I was working for a internet service provider. So I was, this was like 97. 33.6 modems were just giving away to 56K modems at that point. And if anybody remembers that time period, you had 56K Flex and 56K X2. US Robotics had X2 and everybody else had Flex. US Robotics was the number one consumer brand. The number one brands for the internet providers were the side that were using Flex. It caused a lot of problems. Fortunately, they standardized it, and all the modems out there were able to update to the V.90, which gave everybody 56K and no more fight. And I remember going to places like killfrog.com in order to watch funny videos. And God, I'm trying to remember the one. There was one that they had all these lemmings. It was Joe Cartoon. The dude did so well, he got a Hummer and painted it as if he went splattering through a whole row of gerbils. But that's what, the early days of the internet were about. And memes were just barely becoming a thing at that point, too.
Devern says, I don't watch cat videos, LOL. I don't watch much of the viral stuff. I watch the nerds talking about cartoons, watch the train videos. I watch music videos of the underground music. I watch Road Guy Rob talk about roads. I don't watch anything viral. But, Devern, the things that you do watch, they bring you joy and they bring you happiness. It doesn't...
And that's what matters.
Yeah. It doesn't. As long as it makes you happy, it doesn't matter if it's viral or not. That's what we're talking about. Is not exactly the effect of viral videos on people, but just videos, memes, and video games and social media in general.
Right.
I agree with you, Cat. Cat videos are the bomb.
Says the person named Cat. But, I understand.
Right. Devern says, LOL. All I was saying was that I don't watch viral stuff. LMAO. Y'all made it deep. Well,
that's kind of what we do.
Kind of what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here to, help people explore and talk about their mental health. And when we have a time slot where we don't have the guests, then we get to take over.
Yep. And if you don't like it, too bad. Because it's what we're doing anyway.
Exactly. I mean, but to talk about, the influence of like social media on people, I have seen a lot of good come from social media, and I've seen a lot of negativity come from it. I mean, so there are times when I see people, and I try to reach out to anyone that I'm friends with on social media that's having a hard time, and offer an ear for them to listen, or for them to talk to and everything.
A
And
shoulder to cry on.
exactly. And but I mean, I do that honestly because I was lucky enough to have someone do that for me.
Jeez, who was
And
dumb enough to do that?
Geez, I wonder who. I was extremely fortunate in the fact that I ran into a group of amazing people. Who just wanted nothing more than to see me be my best self. And there are still those people out there that want that. It's just sometimes the negativity does outweigh the good.
No, it can. It can definitely bring you down. I mean, as you're talking about that, there was a guy that... Okay, so I'm not going to lie. We're talking about games, so I'm playing a game right now. I'm playing World of Warcraft. Season of Mastery. Yeah. Well, there was a guy that... There was a discussion happening in the Looking for Group chat. The Looking for Group chat tends to get toxic and overrun by things that it shouldn't be overrun with. And there was a discussion about the vaccines. Now, I'm just going to say, talk to your medical professional. Talk to a doctor. If they think it's right for you and you're comfortable with it, do it. If the doctor says that they don't think it's right for you, you're comfortable with it, then don't do it. Just talk to your doctor. And if you don't like what your doctor says, get a second opinion. Second opinions do matter. They count. Sometimes a fresh set of eyes is what's needed. But ultimately, it's your decision. I'm not going to push one way or the other. But there's a big discussion going on about it, and I decided to troll a little bit in it, and play both sides. Because, well, I'm a troll, and I like to play both sides. And this one guy decided to try to troll me, and we started talking. We got into a very serious, actual discussion, and he was like, wow, he's like, you really do have a brain. We saw eye to eye on a lot of things, and we really talked a lot. Well, I found out that he's a veteran, and he was having a pretty rough time. And I spent hours, and I mean hours, chatting with the guy. Way beyond my bedtime. In the end, I don't know how far down, he was, but he was a lot better afterwards. I still chat with him every once in a while. I'm hoping he's listening right now. He knows about this podcast. He knows I want him to be a guest on the podcast. We'll see how it goes. But you just never know where you might be able to change a life. I helped change a life on freaking Twitter of all places, where I'm permabanned. I helped change a life in World of freaking Warcraft. You just never know who needs someone to listen, and someone to be compassionate, and someone that just understands. And if they don't understand, they at least try. And if it wasn't for the internet, Bexy may not be here.
Right.
There's a couple other people I've talked to that wouldn't be here because I talked them down off the internet. I've only ever talked down one person that I did it not online. And they were a guest.
I remember her.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she was. I've had a couple people tell me that because of me, they're still alive when they thought there was no hope left. And, some of it has been because of Twitter, and some of it's been, positive effect from, like, this podcast.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing. The amount of I don't think a lot of people realize the amount of power that just a few kind words can have in someone's life. Right. I had absolutely no idea that when I first ran into E on Twitter, that he would become such a huge part of my life.
I had no idea the same way. I saw you and I was like, okay, this is someone that just hangs out with this group. And that's all I really thought.
That's all I thought about you.
See, we really didn't think much of each other.
No.
We just were like, okay, we run in groups with like-minded people. Little did we know that I would be drawn towards her. Not just, her pain resonated with me. I mean, and again, it's never a competition, but I can safely say that she was in more pain than I was. I don't know that she's ever been in more pain than I've ever been, emotionally, but I know at that point she was definitely in more pain than I was, because I had been in that region before. And I saw the beauty in her as well. And it just, it moth to a flame.
I couldn't believe it. I would, reply to a tweet, and immediately below it, he would have something to say, and I would be like, this guy is all right. He's not. I was so terrified that it was going to end up being one of those things, because I saw some of the troll tweets, and I was like, oh God, when is he going to turn on me? And he could just devastate me. But he never did.
Why would I?
And I mean, not that
I troll trolls.
Yes, and it took me a moment to realize that. It did. I'm at that point in my life, I was so used to people doing nothing but putting me down. I couldn't believe that somebody was actually being nice to me. And that's a sad place to find yourself in.
And it's like, and I mean, Bexy and I, we've discussed it before. If I were the kind of person that wanted to tear her down, I had plenty to work with if I really wanted to. I could go the laziest route imaginable, or I could try to, be the snakiest person alive and try to get to know as much as possible and then turn.
Oh,
That's not who I am. I may have been like that at one point in my life. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we all change a lot, especially through our formative years, especially our teenage years. Jesus. It's almost like you go to bed one person, wake up someone completely different sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories from friends who, they flat out admitted, oh, I used to be a bully, and then one day I saw what what the bullying kind of was doing to people, and I never stopped to think about how they reacted. I just, I would do it because it was fun for me. I didn't think about anybody else's feelings. And once they had that realization, they weren't a bully any longer.
And I will say that back when I was in... Okay, so my school is a little bit different because, for me, middle school started in 4th grade because you went to a completely different campus in 4th grade. You had K through 3 at the elementary school. Then you had this other elementary school, but it was 4th through 8th. And then after that was, your high school. And there was a kid, God, it was 5th grade. At the time, I was relentless towards him. I really was. And so were my friends, and I'm kind of the ringleader in my groups of friends. I tend to be the instigator. Gee, imagine that. Anyway, and I, was pretty relentless with this guy. And then I got called into the principal's office, by me and 2 of my friends. And we were talking, and they were talking about, it's this kid that you're picking on, his mom's in the hospital and probably will never get out again. And very lonely, and the things that you're saying are really hurtful, and he's feeling really sad already. He doesn't have his mom anymore, and now he doesn't seem to have any friends and all this stuff, and it really tore at me. So I started being really, exceptionally nice to him. Well, in junior high, we were almost inseparable, and he taught me how to play Dungeons & Dragons. And I hope that you're listening to this. Because, yeah, I mean, I am sorry from the bottom of my heart for being such a dick as a kid. But I'm so glad that someone let me know your situation so that way I could actually experience this thing called empathy. Holy shit. It was kind of new to me at the time. I mean, kids are very self-absorbed. That's just the way kids are. It's nothing against kids. It's literally in their nature.
But it was nice that someone, that the principal could have just come down on me hard, punish me, detention, suspension, whatever, without any explanation as to why, other than I'm being mean to this kid. No, he explained to me why this was impacting the kid, and I didn't get in any trouble. I just had that one meeting, and it changed everything about me when looking at others. And yeah, there were times I could pick on someone here, someone there, but usually it's people that are being jerks first. Then I turn around and I'll fire it right back. But at that point, I pretty much stopped picking on the helpless. And then as I kept getting older and older and going through high school and all that, I became more aware of the people that I was having, it's not, I guess it is a prejudice, but it's not like a racial prejudice. It was just prejudice against people that I perceived as socially beneath me or whatever. And by the time I graduated high school, that just wasn't a part of me anymore. That was just gone. I couldn't stand it anymore. And it all started because of that one principal that took that 1 minute. And we were I felt, of course, in grade school or whatever, it felt like eternity being in that office. But I think we were in there for less than 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes put me on a completely different trajectory in my life that I'm still on to this day. You just never know. Deverne, I'm still going to hell for the things I said behind the backs of people in the special ed classes I was forced into. I don't think you are, if you truly are sorry for what you said. I've always been a fan of, it's your hell, you burn in it. Yeah. I don't believe in hell. If there is a hell, I don't think there's anything in it. After all, God is ever patient and ever forgiving. Well, if he's forever patient, forever forgiving, then there could be nothing in hell. Just a thought. Just let me throw that out there for you. But it wasn't me that... It wasn't the first... I wasn't the first one to even think of that. That was actually... It was someone high up in the Catholic Church that actually theorized that, and it kind of stuck with me. If God is ever patient and God is ever forgiving, then there's nothing in hell. If there is anything in hell, it's just Satan and his followers, and that's it. Purgatory is your own personal hell, and it'll last as long as it needs to last. Well, I'm sure there's a lot in purgatory, but I doubt that there's any in hell. Except for maybe, pedophiles.
No, but earlier we were talking about video games, and you're playing your video game
right now.
I play video games. I play video games, but I don't do the online thing. I play solo video games, and for me, that works because it's a decompression thing for me. It's a time where I can turn my brain off and focus on this game and just relax and not have to worry about everything, let the weight of the world slip away for a little bit. And that's good for me. I know a lot of people that do that, but the downside of that is too much solo gaming can lead to
very serious depression, isolation.
Yes, more depression, isolation, and you just start to feel miserable. I limit my video game time and try not to play, for too long, in any one sitting. But
right.
Video games have always been there for me as an escape. Like books have always been there for me as an escape. I played Atari.
Woohoo!
I've played Nintendo. I've played every Nintendo.
I played all the Nintendos.
I love the Nintendo. I never got into like the PlayStation or the Xbox. I have an Xbox, but it's basically just for streaming TV shows.
And honestly, that is one of the most underwhelming uses of a console ever. And I'm not an Xbox person, but yeah, I'm a PlayStation person.
I know.
I don't have a PS5 yet, and I'm saying yet because, well, the game that I really want isn't out yet. When Gran Turismo's released, you could bet your ass I'm going to go nuts trying to get myself a new PlayStation. Even though it'll be available for PlayStation 4, let's face it, it's not going to be the same.
You know, the Xbox I have is pretty old, and the disc drive has burned out in it, but it's perfect for me because all I do is watch Netflix and Hulu on it.
There you go.
So it doesn't matter. But, you know, I have in my bedroom, I have my 3DS and I have my Switch, and floating around the house, I have a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, a GameCube, a Nintendo 64. And all these consoles still work, and I can hook them up and play them, and it's amazing.
And DeVern's like, my PS3 is only used for DVDs, but who really watches those anyway? True, because you can get everything streamed anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But I still have. I still buy movies.
I'll buy the DVD, Blu-ray, digital combo discs. That way, I have the disc. That way, if I something I want to watch and the internet's down, guess what? I can still watch.
Yeah, that's always nice. You know, Devern says, I hear the Switches play horribly, like lots of bug issues. I don't know about online, because you can play online with the Switch. I don't. I just straight up play the game as it comes, and I've never had any issues. Oh, that's not true. I guess I have played online because my Animal Crossing, I can go online with that and go visit islands of other people, and I love to do that. That's so much fun.
Yeah, but I think that the big difference there is that with Animal Crossing, it doesn't have like huge demands for really good networking and interoperability and interplay between, because you're not doing like PvP, you know, first-person shooters. In that.
No,
it's Animal Crossing. You're loading up someone else's island, whether they're on or not, and you're walking around it. No big deal. But I don't have a Switch. I want a Switch. I started out, like, my first game system that I ever played on, that I remember, because I've been playing video games for as long as I literally can remember, it was an Atari 2600, although I swear I played Pong before it. I swear I played Pong before it. But I played an Atari 2600. It was over at my grandparents' house because it was for my uncle, the one that's only 7 years older than me, and he's the baby of the family. He gets everything he wants, and he wanted a Atari 2600, so he got one. And then I wanted one, and I got one. And I remember playing that thing, so many games for hours and hours and hours. And actually, what's funny is that one of my coworkers, we were talking about the Atari 2600, and I was like, even though it's one of the most hated games ever made, I actually enjoyed the Atari 2600 version of the game E.T. I am in a very, very small minority of people that can actually say that I enjoyed that game. And I understand why people hated it. I initially hated it.
I could never figure it out.
That's the key. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, that game was the bane of my fucking existence, and I could not figure it out for shit.
It was not an easy game. It was one of the toughest games I ever played, but I never gave up on it.
Oh, I did.
I refused
I
to give
threw
up
many
on
a joystick because of that game.
The one that made me want to throw a joystick until I realized, oh, it's a 2-controller game. God damn it, which one was that? It was Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think was the game. It required you to use... You had to use both joysticks to play the game. Because there just weren't enough inputs on the one joystick, so you had to use a second joystick. Dogs. And that game I could never beat, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. But I actually wound up falling absolutely in love with E.T.
Wow.
The trick was learn how to find radio parts when you hit the button when it makes your neck go up and down again.
Uh-huh.
And then just go straight for those parts and make sure to gather as many Reese's Pieces as you can, because you're going to need them to for your energy. It was really that simple. Wow. Then you get all the radio parts, and then you walk around until you see the landing signal in the jungle, in the forest area. And once you see the landing icon, that's when you go ahead and you hit the button again while you have the radio parts, and then you just have to wait because your message gets there, and then you just have to wait for them to show up, the aliens, and then get on it without getting captured, because there's people trying to hunt you down the entire time. But that's the gist of the game. It was that easy.
Wow. That's oh my god, wow.
Yeah. I also played on a ColecoVision and an Intellivision.
I have played a ColecoVision. I have never played on the Intellivision. I know someone who has played on a Commodore 64 though.
My neighbor had a Commodore 64. I played on it all the time. Plus my schools, that's all they had all the way through 8th grade were Commodore 64s.
Wow.
So I played the piss out of Commodore 64s.
I remember when the Nintendo came out, and
4th grade.
that was like, oh my god, I want this. And my cousins got one before I ever did. And I would go over there and try to, get a turn, and we would play Castlevania.
I didn't actually play. No, oh yeah, Nintendo the original Castlevania to this day still holds up.
Yeah,
that game was amazing.
That's what they would play, and I would be like, I want to turn. Nobody ever let me play
because everybody's a video game asshole.
Yeah. Well, it. Eventually, I got my own. So that's when the whole Legend of Zelda addiction came into play, because I've played Zelda on every console.
But I mean, it's Legend of Zelda.
Yes. And it's awesome no matter what you do. And see, that's the kind of game I like. I don't like the first-person shooters or anything like that. I like the games where you get to go on a quest.
But I mean, the just learning. Let's face it. To beat the original Legend of Zelda, you had to know somebody that knew the secrets. Because it's like, okay, you have to, in order to get into this dungeon, you have to blow up this exact one square with a bomb.
Yeah.
Who in the hell is aware of that?
This is before, the internet, and we're trying to figure out how to maneuver these video games, and somebody learns a trick, and they tell a friend, and that friend tells a friend, and you're like, oh god, I heard this might work, let me try it. And then when it does, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe how easy that was. Why didn't I think of that sooner?
It wasn't up until a few years ago I still had the cheat code for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out memorized to get to Mike Tyson.
Wow.
I still have the Konami Code memorized, but I mean, if you ever played any Konami games, you knew the Konami Code, because it gave you 30 lives on any game by Konami.
Mm.
Up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Right. I mean, I know that, and I never played those games. That's how, how out there it was. It just...
But for me, I was a pretty... I would say that I wasn't like a lonely kid, but I was lonely often. Especially during the wintertime in my hometown. Everybody's snowed in. Nobody goes anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really go outside. You go outside, you're going to get frozen. You're going to get soaking wet, and then everything smells like wet dog or wet feet. It's God. Pretty unpleasant.
Yeah.
And I would play video games, if I could, 24 hours a day. Gee, I wonder why I was depressed. But I will say that during the pandemic, with social distancing and everything like that, well, obviously this podcast has helped a lot, but so have playing MMOs.
Oh, yeah,
it allows me to get that. Yeah, it gives me that social connection to people.
I mean, that's what, with this pandemic and everything like that, I mean, I am home a lot. And, taking care of Adam and stuff like that, but the internet and social media has been a place where I can go and just, vent and talk to people, and it's still, some kind of social interaction.
Yeah, except that for me, I can't really do the social media so much. I get in trouble. Even though I'm trolling trolls, I get in trouble. Speaking of which, I have about 12 hours left before I'm out of Facebook jail again. And I legitimately was not trying to get into jail this time.
Yeah, your dad posted something about we all know someone who's in Facebook jail more than they're out of it. And I'm like, yeah, like me.
Yeah. Like your son. Your brother-in-law as well. It was my brother-in-law that gave me the idea to try to be in Facebook jail more. My uncle. More than not, because he was like, wow, so far this year I've been in Facebook jail more than I've been out. And I'm like, challenge accepted. He's like, it wasn't a challenge. I'm like, a challenge accepted.
I do have some games, though, I have to say, on my Switch that I play with other people, because, Mario Kart.
Oh, you can't...
I love Mario Kart.
You can play it alone, but that AI is not exactly bright.
It's more fun to play with more people.
Because people make it unpredictable.
Yeah.
Plus, there's all the trash talking, too.
Well, I don't really engage in that. That's not my thing. Unless, I know the person really well, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kick your ass, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, we'd have to get the same gaming system, so that way I can kick your ass as Sub-Zero.
No, Scorpion's going to whoop that ass. Sorry.
Not when I'm controlling Sub-Zero, he's not.
You just don't know, bro. You just don't know.
Right back at you, sis. Right back at you.
Oh my god. You should see the posters I have for the last Mortal Kombat movie that came out. I have the movie theater full-size vinyl bus posters. 2 of them.
Nice.
One of them is Scorpion, and the other one is Sub-Zero and Scorpion on it.
Nice.
They are freaking awesome.
Sorry, you probably should be grinning ear to ear. I just ganked someone.
You make me want to play a video game, but I need to hold the phone instead of play on the console.
Yeah, I like ganking people. I mean, that's why I play on PvP servers instead of PvE. Player versus player versus player versus environment. I'd rather player versus player. I get ganked all the time, but I also gank all the time too. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, see, I tried to learn to play the last time I tried to learn to play a first person shooter game or something like that, it's been a while. It was Halo.
First person shooters though take a lot of dedication to get good at.
They do, but when you're playing with someone who doesn't want to explain how the controls work, they just hand you one and say here, and then they giggle maniacally as they headshot you over and over and over again.
Yeah, that ain't cool.
No, it ain't cool. It's kind of an asshole move.
Kind of?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be nice. Fine. It's a twat waffle move. I'm just going to say that.
That's true. Devern just said Breath of the Wild is the only one that graphically looks good to me. Then you haven't seen Octopath Traveler.
Oh my gosh.
That game is gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Oh my god, it is absolutely beautiful and fun too.
Well, if I remember correctly, it's Square Enix.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but it was... I love playing that.
Yeah, and God, it was actually one of my friends that, he got a Switch only for Octopath Traveler. That's the only reason why he got one. And he said it was worth every penny. Octopath Traveler is one of those games that you could just stop playing and just look at the screen and just be like, my god, this is gorgeous. Did I lose you, Bex?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was replying to someone who had sent me a message, and now I'm thinking maybe I should ask this person to be on the podcast.
Ask. I don't know who it is, but go ahead and ask.
Sir Jeremy London.
Ask. Worst thing they could do is ignore you.
Oh, he never ignores me. He follows me.
Well, there you go.
He had posted this thing. It says, drop your name below and I will tell you what your name would have been in like the Renaissance era or something like that. And I was like, okay, fine. So I put Bexy in there and he responded, Lady Bexy of the Mental Penguin.
Okay, he knows you.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Ask him!
On it.
I'm not going to get starstruck. I don't really get starstruck. It's not one of my things.
He's really down to earth. He's a nice guy. I don't get starstruck by him.
Yep, now I'm being camped by the person that I originally ganked. He brought in his other character. He's now camping me. Salty! Oh, congrats, Cat, on unjamming the garbage disposal and keeping all your claws intact.
I responded, I'm totally in love with that name. And by the way, if you're ever so inclined, my fellow co-hosts, and I would love to have you on the podcast.
Like, now. Right now. Drop everything you're doing.
Oh, goodness.
Gracious. Great balls of fire.
He has his own Etsy shop where he sells homemade bread and pepper jelly.
Oh, I love pepper jelly. Damn it. Now I need to get some.
I'll see if I can find the link for you. I love his pinned tweet too. People keep asking me if I'm okay. I'm on Twitter. None of us are okay. So, while I wait for responses from things, anybody else want to chime in with anything?
Yeah, now's the time.
Our good friend Missy makes a point, and she's talking about how right now Twitter doesn't feel like a very good place to her. And she said, so if it doesn't feel good for you, know that you're not alone, and that's okay. It's always okay to unplug from social media and take a break. It's okay to protect your energy and take care of yourself, which is, I think something that sometimes we forget. We get so used to being online and interacting with people that way, especially lately, that we totally forget that it's okay to step back and not be online.
Exactly. Anybody have anything?
Mental penguin, cat says. I almost thought he said metal penguin at first, and I was like, oh wait, no, that says mental. Hold the phone closer to your face, read it correctly. I'm getting old. Well, we knew there was a very real possibility tonight that it might be a short episode.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But that's okay, because I know we've got a great guest coming up next week.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm excited about that one. Like, really excited.
Yeah.
I'm just as excited about this upcoming guest as I was about having Joe on last week.
Jeez. That's saying something right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, they recently followed me on Twitter and I squealed a little.
But nah, I mean, even like MMOs, you gotta be careful, like, because like social media, anytime you have any kind of social interaction with anybody, especially online, where everybody feels emboldened and anonymous, even though technically you're not anonymous.
Right.
You really got to be careful about getting pulled into the toxicity of it all, because it'll wreck you.
Oh yeah, it definitely can. I mean, I know for a fact that there were times when someone would say something hateful to me and I would just break down. Any kind of negative comment about anything would send me into tears, and now I'm just like, you think you hurt me? I have to care about you for your shit to hurt me. Oh, fuck yourself.
Yeah, that was a good lesson for me to learn too. I don't care what you think. I have to value you first, and I don't value you at all.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the great lessons of my life, and it took me a long time to learn it, but I finally did. I mean, sure, sometimes people say stuff and I'm just like, ugh. Somebody called me a Cabbage Patch Kid the other day. I thought that was kind of cool. It was after I changed my hair color. They're like, you look like a Cabbage Patch Kid. And I'm like, well, I think Cabbage Patch Kids are cute. Thanks. And I do kind of look like one.
You kind of do.
Yeah. It's the chunky cheeks.
Although I would say that based on your behaviors too, Garbage Pail Kid fits too.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I loved Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh, they were the best.
So awesome. I actually saw some Garbage Pail Kid Pops the other day. I almost bought one. And then I was like, you don't need another Funko Pop, put it down.
But I do.
Oh, trust me, every bit of me wanted to buy it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm. Well, I got a like on my, by the way, if you're ever so inclined. We'd love to have you on the podcast from Jeremy London, but no response yet. So at least you've seen it. The idea has been planted.
Okay, there you go. That'd be awesome if you did.
It would be awesome. I'd love that.
Aw, Kat, I was a broccoli baby for Halloween one year.
Well, you know, my brother did tell me I was found in a Cabbage Patch. That was my origin story for a while.
Yeah, I told my sister, most babies come from the belly. You came from Mama's butt.
Oh, that's a little nicer than, you know, the other thing that I was told, which was that I was found floating on a turd in the toilet. I know.
I'm gonna have to tell
Aren't siblings grand?
I'm gonna have to tell my sister that. Hey, guess where you were found?
Oh, God.
And let's see. Head out now. I left my weird ass self for the aliens to fight here in the comments. I did what I do. You know who said that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's dead air. I'm going to have to break into song. What's the most awkward song I can sing? John Jacob.
Oh, blah-dee, oh, blah-da, life goes on, oh.
Oh, God. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
That is not an annoying song. What the hell is wrong with you?
That is not annoying. I was not trying to be annoying with that song.
Okay, because I was actually being annoying with that song.
No, I wasn't trying to be annoying.
I was like, you were talking about obnoxious or annoying songs. You go with that, like, dude, that song rocks.
That song does rock, and it just popped into my head, so I had to sing it. Although, you know, I should change the lyrics to "Down with the Thickness" to go with my new rap persona, Thickeroni with Cheese.
I actually started working on verses for that, actually.
Really?
Over a year ago. Before you started with the Thickeroni. Yeah, it was with my man my friend who was my best man.
Yeah,
I shared it with him.
That's awesome.
Cat's still fighting with the garbage disposal. It sounds like.
Oh, poor cat.
Yeah, well, we were afraid that this was going to be a short episode.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
there isn't a ton to talk about. I mean, yeah, we all, if we had someone else to talk about to give us other points about
ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just points about, mental health and video games, internet, social media, memes, stuff like that. Because I mean, all those things that can help build you up, they can also tear you down.
Yep, that is the truth there. And I mean, the thing is, you got to find that place where it's comfortable for you. I mean, too much of anything can be a bad thing.
And even vitamins can kill you.
Yep. So
and water could desalinate you, and that'll kill you.
Can.
Of course, drinking too much water through the lungs. Yeah, that'll do it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I tell people don't drink and breathe. Actually, I tell my dogs that all the time because they're lapping up water so fast, and they always inadvertently, like choke on some of it because it goes down the wrong pipe. And I'm like, you little shits, don't drink and breathe. How many times do I have to tell you that? I like your spiky hair.
Why, thank you. Well, I guess that's going to have to be it here. Because, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about these things before. Quite a few times.
We have. And, I mean, I
just got an E, Discord, in bold letters. All right, Discord.
Oh, wow.
Let's see what we got here. There we go. That's not... I'm on Discord. Poof. Yeah. I don't see anything in Discord. Yay! I don't see anything in Discord. Tell me to go to Discord, I go to Discord. There's nothing in Discord. So I guess just... She's probably typing right now, and I'm just razzing on her.
Oh, goodness. Well, while you wait for a response, maybe we should just remind the people that are listening that, to support us, you can always check out our webpage. There are www.mimental.net. Yes.
You don't need the 3 dubs if you don't want. It'll take you there anyway.
And, we have our donation page up there. We also have our Teespring store on there. So buy some cool stuff. I have something that should be arriving from them very soon.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got an email notification that it shipped out. I was like, awesome.
What'd you get?
A tote bag.
Nice. Yeah, those tote bags are amazing. I want to get. They look really
nice, and I've been wanting one for a while. My niece has one, and she also has. She wears it constantly. I love her for it. She has an In My Mental hoodie.
Nice.
So she's always, now that it's colder, she's always up in her In My Mental hoodie. So that's awesome. Share our episodes, especially if one resonates with you,
or you think may resonate with someone that may be struggling.
Right. We do our best to put out a show that we hope everyone enjoys, and every once in a while an episode like this happens. But, like I said, we'll be back next week with a great guest, and it's going to be an awesome show.
All right. So, other than that, I mean, I wish that we had more content. It's just, just one of those days, unfortunately. But
That's okay. We're allowed to have those days sometimes. That's what taking care of your mental health is all about. Sometimes you need an easy day.
yes. All right, so
Goodness.
until
Sorry.
next week, I'm E.
I'm Bexy.
And on behalf of C, we'll catch you guys all next week. Bye.
Bye.